Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I wanted to talk about the ban list expectations for the upcoming ban list for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Now, normally there is a ban list about every month or so, but given the fact that Worlds is just happened, I figured that there would be more of a ban list, or at least a little bit bigger, and I kind of wanted to talk about what I expect to be on the limited list and what to change. Now, with that being said, there is a reason there's a question mark for banned. I honestly don't expect this to change. I don't expect a banning of any singular card, and the reason for this is because I really don't expect Konami to actually ban anything. There isn't really anything that they would feel is necessary to ban. However, with a few exceptions. Now, notably, I do want to say this is supposed to be a prediction list, but we'll talk about specific areas where it's more what I think could potentially happen, or what could change, and this is one of those instances. I don't think anything is going to be banned in this ban list, but there are a few cards that could be banned. Most notably, Mudora and Agito. These are the two SR Ishizu cards, and they are the weaker versions of the Ishizu cards, but I do think that if anything were to be banned, it would be one of these two. And the reason for that is because, yes, you could also limit the tier limit cards, which I do expect to actually happen. We'll get to that in the limited section, but I do think that if anything in particular were to be banned, it'd probably be these two. And the reason it's not Eradicator is solely due to the fact that on the previous ban list, the actual, an actual ban list, which was 2 cards, so quote-unquote actual ban list, on the actual ban list, they did hit this in the most recent one, right? The one that wasn't just Fenris to 2, so there's that. So I don't expect this to be hit on this ban list, which is why I'm not actually saying that it's going to be banned. I do expect it to be hit at some point, or to be banned at some point, just because that is something that Konami would likely do. But I do expect it to be hit not within the next ban list, but probably the one after that, or somewhere along that line. Anyway, but as for these two, the Agito and the Mudora, I would say that if anything at all were to be banned, it would be those two. Moving on to the limited list. So we have a few changes here that I actually do expect. Now, notably, this isn't entirely 100% what I would expect, but I do think that there is a lot here that is more likely to happen. So first things first, Glow Up Bulb. Going from banned to limited to 1 in the OCG is something very likely to also happen in Master Duel. And the reason for this is because I think Master Duel has received a lot of those similarly weird unhits, just to kind of see how good they would be. And honestly, Glow Up Bulb is still insane, so I don't really think that it should come back, but I do think Konami seeing that it didn't really do anything too big in the OCG is likely to be like, yeah, this card can come back. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm expecting. It's also a UR, so of course Konami's going to be like, yeah, we want this card back. We want people to spend their precious UR, crafting points on the Glow Up Bulb. So, yeah, that's basically it. As for other such hits, we have things like Merly and Havness going to 1. This is pretty expected. They are the lowest rarity. They're the only non-UR monsters that are in tier. So, yeah, it kind of makes sense as to why these would go to 1, but something like Sheeran, I don't expect to change on the limited list, similar to how Kelbeck didn't move. However, I do expect this time for Kelbeck to actually go to 1, and the reason for this, Kelbeck has been around for long enough to where I think Konami is like, okay, I think people have had it for long enough. They're not going to get upset if we limit this, and we're also probably not going to lose out on much by limiting it to 1 without banning it, but actually just limiting it so that we're only losing out on that one additional crafting point thing, right? So I do expect those to be the hits to tier, and then of course, of course they're going to hit Baldrake. It's not going to be the Lubellion. It's not going to be the Saronir. Saronir is just too important of a card to branded, while also not being really that splashable as compared to something like Baldrake. And Lubellion is a UR. They're going to hit the Bystials. It's just going to happen. I don't know why they would do this, but again, of course Konami is going to do this. It's more of just a yeah, Abystial is going to be here. And then, this is a weird one, but I do think that this is absolutely something that they're going to do as a pseudo hit to tier, and also kind of a slap on the wrist being like, hey, stop playing branded tier. Branded in High Spirits. Now, this card is really good if you draw it with a tier name, because you reveal a tier name, you get to send the Rukalos, and then you get to send the tier name to the graveyard while also adding to your hand the Albion, which just immediately gets you into Kit Kalos while also playing around Abystial because you don't have a monster on your field. It's insane. It's like so powerful for tier and so advantageous for them. So the fact that you would probably only have this at 1 means that you're less likely to actually play this, and more importantly, you're also less likely to play other such branded style tier decks. Not a wide or a likely change, but it's something where it's like, I mean, they hit Foolish Burial Goods to 1. This just seems like in that same vein, right? Am I wrong? Probably not. So this is my predictions. These are what I actually do expect to have changed. Baldrake is also a hit to the Dragon Link deck as well, so there's that, but not really, because I think most of the time they're only playing one anyway. Saronir would be more of a hit, but I really don't think that Saronir is going to get hit, because why would it? Anyway, and then moving on, Elf is interesting, because it has to go to 1. There's no reason for it to stay at 2, or to like have it at 2, because that doesn't change anything. This isn't a Duel Links ban list where putting something to 2 actually changes the amount of cards that you can play, basically. So I do expect that Sprite Elf would go to 1. However, this is the one I'm most hesitant about. And the reason for this, simply put, is because it's UR. And it is being splashed into basically every deck, which means almost everyone would have the ability to decraft this and get an additional card as a trade. Now, how much does that actually matter? Probably not at all, but Konami is very, very keen on not allowing that to happen. On not allowing them to give away cards for free. Because of course they just don't do that. Bottom line is number 1 priority, right? However, with it going to 2, not everyone has 2 copies. So instead of banning it, if you put it to 1, sorry, not putting it to 2, putting it to 1, with not everyone having 2 copies, it does make sense as to why they would do that, because then not everyone is getting that free 1 card. Yes, it is a ban-worthy card. Yes, this card is absolutely insane and deserves to be banned in every format. It's just that good. It's a Link 2 that is easily summonable and can be splashed into basically everything to get you a just free additional body onto your side of the field that can then also be used as an Exene material thanks to Gigantic Sprite. Now, you can't really ban or do much with Gigantic Sprite because it's so very generic, or so very specific, and, you know, it's locks and stuff like that. But Elf is definitely the ban-worthy card. However, not going to be banned. Just not going to happen. And I really am hesitant to even put it on the limited list, because I really don't think Konami is going to do that big of a hit to Sprite, or more specifically just to anything in general that uses Sprite Elf. I just don't really see that happening all that much, because it is a UR. Moving on to the semi-limits. Okay, semi-limits are weird, because honestly, I don't see anything going from 3 to 2. I don't know what they would put from 3 to 2, like Extrav maybe, or like Pot of Desires, or I don't really see anything actually being semi-limited, because I don't think there's really anything to semi-limit. Also, my brain doesn't work like that. I see a semi-limited card and I go, cool, that's at 3, basically. So, there's that. But I did think of a few things that could go from 1 to 2 that could actually happen. Draco Slayer, Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer, I do expect to actually go to 2. And the reason for this, Draco Slayer was just re-released, or not re-released, but released new support in the most recent set in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, so it would make sense that in the ban list, right after that, they give you 1 more of this guy. Now, granted, this guy could go to 3, and nothing would change. In fact, there is a whole lot of cards that could go to 3 with nothing changing, But I do expect that this would actually change, as well as Herald of Orange Light. If they're taking away one of your best options to use Herald of Orange Light in one of the Ishizu cards, I do expect them to give you a Herald of Orange Light. That's basically it. I don't really have anything else about Herald of Orange Light. It's just kind of there because why not? The Ishizu got limited, why not put it back to 2? This is just, this one in particular is more of, here's something they could do, but I don't really expect it to happen, so there's that. I, again, don't really think of any other I couldn't really think of any other cards that could be semi-limited. Again, maybe some of the pot cards, maybe, but even those I'm more likely to see Herald than I am one of the pot cards. But who knows? Anyway, on to the Unlimits. Okay, this one is different. There are a whole lot of cards that could come off of the list today without changing a single thing, right? This is not including banned cards, because most of those are just like pendulum cards that if you banned Electromite, you could take a whole bunch of them off. And like Kieran, which is there for reasons, I don't know why Kieran is banned. Like, that card could absolutely go to 3 and nothing would change. But besides all of those, here are a whole bunch of cards that literally could go to 3 right now and would change nothing. Cobalt Sparrow, Tri-Brigade Fractal, Longwan, Adamancipator Analyzer, Girsu the Orcus Mech Knight, Conquistador the Golden Land, DD Dynamite, Infernity Launcher, Trickstar Light Stage. We have Nadir Servant, Fusion Destiny, Sekka's Light, Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer. We have Herald of Orange Light, Gamma, Steam the Cloak, Orphis Scorpio, and Necroface, along with Trishula. Now, I know that's a lot, but real quick, a lot of these are just from older meta decks, like, for example, Eldritch, which is now dead because Labyrinth exists. Cobalt Sparrow and Fractal are here because of Lyrilisc. Tri-Brigade, which was the best deck for, like, a month? I don't know, not even. It was never really the best deck. It was always Tri-Brigade Zodiac, but apparently Fractal and Cobalt Sparrow were on here. I really don't know why. Longwan is on here for reasons I could never tell you why. Yes, Sword Soul was the best deck, but Longwan to 2 didn't change anything about that. Like, it literally changed nothing. Anyway, Analyzer was on here for similar reasons because of Adamancipator being one of the best decks at the release of the game. It's still at 2, again, for reasons unknown. DD Dynamite is on here for an FTK. That was mostly because of the fact that it was easy to execute due to bots. It was a bot problem. And instead of actually fixing the bot problem, they limited a card. I don't know why, but alas, here we are. Infernity Launcher. Honestly, you could give Infernities full power, it would change nothing. Archfiend to 3, Infernity Launcher to 3, it's not going to change anything. They're just Adamancipator. Maxi exists, you can give them the third launcher, it doesn't matter. It's not going to do anything. Yeah, maybe it's a slightly annoying deck to play against because now they actually have, like, big, long combos that they can do, but, like, same with 6-Sam. 6-Sam literally does the same thing. Almost just as consistently. Like, it's not easy to get cards out of your hand in Infernity. Trickstar Light Stage. Turns out doing full Orcus combo with a singular card just doesn't matter. Speaking of, yeah, turns out doing Orcus combo with a singular card, doing full Orcus combo with a singular card, doesn't matter. Like, it's nice, but it doesn't matter. It's just not enough anymore. Necroface was on here because of the Ishizu cards. That's why this card is on here. Not because of this card actually doing anything, but it was because, hey, what if I just dex my opponent out? Because of the Ishizu cards. That milled 10 for my opponent. Cool, now I just have to do this, like, twice, and I win. So, yeah, again, even having it at 2 is, it's still possible to deck your opponent out. It's like, I don't know what's going on here, but okay. Orphis Scorpio, it was put to 2, and it didn't change anything. Predaplant is still mid. You can put it to 3. Promise. Steam the Cloak was on here because of Halqifibrax. Halqifibrax is now banned. You can put this card to 3. Pendulum. Draco Slayer. I don't know what else to say. It's a mid card. It's a tuner. That's nice. But also, like, you can't summon monsters except for Draco Slayer monsters. So, you know. Saka's Light is on here for reasons. I actually have no idea why this one's on here. I guess it was because it was too good in Adamantimator, and so they semied it. No one was really playing this in Adamantimator when Adamantimator was big. Even now, no one is playing this card. Almost no one, I should say. But yeah, you can put it to 3. Who cares if they can't? I mean, they can't use spells and traps. Like, why would we care about that? Fusion Destiny is fine. You can put it to 3. I mean, it's not going to change anything, but I don't like it. Nadir Servant. Again, just repeating myself over and over and over again. This card should not have been even limited to 1 when the game was released. It already wasn't the best deck, nor was it even a good deck. Well, okay, it was a good deck, but it wasn't like an insane deck. And after a month, it should have been put to 3. It's been almost 2 years. Well, it's been about a year and a half. So, long overdue. Yeah, sure, there are new Dogmatica cards, and that is exactly why you should probably put this back to 3. Trishula is not doing anything. If you already have 2 of it, you can hand loop for 2. That's basically the same thing. You know, hand looping for 3, hand looping for 2. You're probably finding another way to loop the other 2 cards out of your opponent's hand, and starting them with 2 cards versus 1 card is really negligible. So, who cares? Just put it to 3. If they can figure out a way to summon this card 3 times and banish 3 cards from your hand, they're just better than you. Cool. Gamma. Stops Maxi. Why is it at 2? Why is it not at 3? It stops the Roach. Is it because we don't want it to stop the Roach? Thank you. Yeah, everything else I think I mean, yeah. These could all come off of the list. Now, do I expect Konami to actually remember that these cards exist? No. So because of that, I don't expect anything to actually be unlimited. I expect 0 changes for Unlimits. But alas, here we are. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, like us very much, so appreciate it. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.